What were the most important tech developments of 2023? This is Mac Voices. Today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter that keeps you up with everything Mac Voices is doing. From our published episodes to Chuck's other appearances to special events and more, subscribe at macvoices.com/newsletter and stay fully informed so you don't miss a thing. We're going to spill over just a little bit on time, but I definitely want to get to a quick discussion of what the top stories were of the year. There are a lot of nominations, but would anybody argue with me that that AI/ChatGPT is the top story of the year?
Oh yeah,
I would.
Yeah,
you would argue?
No, I would agree with you.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. It just
and
when you think about when you think about where it was a year ago, that it was barely in our vocabularies, and now it's baked into products. Some of the major tech companies are seeing it as a differentiator, or in some cases, maybe even table stakes. And some of what you're seeing, especially, well, the ones that have caught my attention most recently are the graphics generators that are just kind of amazing, and they're only going to get better.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, with me, it's the fact that what is known as AI, large language models, have become so important that Apple basically uncharacteristically gave us kind of a preview of what's to come. Let us know the stuff that was kind of secretly Apple over in the corner was actually Apple.
Yeah. Jeff?
Okay, AI has been a huge thing for quite a while. Like in corporate enterprise level, AI tools have been very important for all different aspects of running businesses. Having this massive explosion of interest in AI on the consumer side, like we saw this year, I found that to be incredibly fascinating. And part of the fascinating discussion for me isn't just the whole, hey, it's this new thing, and is it ethical to use it to write my school report or my resume, whatever. It's the other part where you have to look at how are these models being trained, and where do the ethics fall in there, and who owns what, and who's responsible for content that's being created and what it was generated from. With as quickly as the LLM side from the public has taken off, we haven't been able to adequately answer a lot of these questions. And it's just been really interesting watching how quickly perspectives have changed throughout the year. And that is not going to stop in 2024.
Not at all.
Jeff, you brought up the word ethics, which I think is one of the most interesting parts that we've seen this year. The questions over whether or not using these tools is ethical, is a good idea. We've had endless debates here about, use them, but trust but verify. Make sure that what they're giving you is what's decent. We've had debates over how secure they are and what goes into the public domain once you put it in, and the questions over training the large language models. And if you train it on one thing, it turns out to be a good little AI, and if you train it on another thing, maybe it's not so good. So there's so many aspects to this that are happening all at once. I think it's fascinating. I think it's going to be with us for a long time. I doubt that this is going to be the last year that it's going to be the top story.
I agree.
Oh. In fact, I think it's going to be an even bigger story next year.
Any particular reason, Ben, or just everything we just talked about?
I think this year was kind of the ramp up. Next year's going to be the show.
Okay.
I think it's probably going to be one of the biggest things you see at CES here in a couple of weeks when you head out there. I assume you're still going, Chuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's gonna be all over the floor there.
Listen, based on the press releases I'm seeing already, I mean, that's everybody's claiming that AI is baked into their product.
Yeah.
Even if it shouldn't be, or even if it, is just, it feels like some of it's window dressing. And I'm not going to call out any products because I haven't seen them. So I don't know, but there are times that I just wonder, okay, is AI really going to add that much to this? Or LLMs, or, we constantly have to correct ourselves as to what is true AI versus what we refer to as AI. But, and at some point, is that going to be a bad thing? Is having AI integrated into your product going to be something of a scarlet letter? If we see a few AI models go wrong.
Only time will tell.
All right, Chuck. No, I don't think it's going to turn into a scarlet letter because there's so much hype. I mean, if that were the case, there's so many products or product categories we use all the time that we would not use at all if that had been the case. Cars, ovens, airplanes. These are all product categories where there have been catastrophic failures, and yet we all use these products all the time. It'll be the same with AI. There will be problems, but it'll be like anything else where it'll just ride through and keep going. Here's, Chuck, I just thought of this. Here's a place that I think would be very interesting to see AI use, not LLM, but like proper AI use at a consumer or business level. And it's with SmartThings integration. So you have a system that learns your routine without you having to actively participate in the programming. And so then over time, it learns and anticipates. So it knows what time you typically get up on weekdays versus weekends. And so you didn't have to program the thermostat to kick on at a specific time each day because it figured that out on its own. What lights turn on and turn off? What color are they? What time do these things happen? Simply because the AI has learned your home routine or your office routine. That would be kind of cool.
Jeff, we already have some of that because my car I get in certain days, certain times of the day, and it'll tell me there's so many minutes to destination X or destination Y.
And your iPhone will do that for you too, to a degree. Yeah.
And so, we already have some of this. And the first couple times it happens, at least being as aware of it as we all are, I know I've kind of like, I'm not sure I like the convenience. I'm not sure I like the fact that it knows that, because that means somebody else could find it out. And then after a while, you just figure the heck with it.
Yeah, but what a great opportunity for some company where the system is localized. So all of this information about your life has been learned by the system, but the system is encrypted and local only.
Jeff, to be fair, I don't know where that information, where that knowledge information is stored. Sorry, knowledge implies something else. But so it may be it very well could be strictly on my phone, and that's it. I don't know. Which leads into a discussion maybe of transparency and where some of this is coming from. I don't know. Let's see. Brad in the chat room says, my watch now anticipates me going home when I get in my car. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So is that on Brad's watch, or is that on his iPhone that is feeding his watch, or is that information being stored in iCloud somewhere? I mean, this is, and I'm not saying there's necessarily anything good, bad, or right or wrong on that. It's just maybe we need to have a little more transparency or definitions of it.
No, I for what it's worth, I've also had some issues incidents, not bad. Going to a doctor's appointment, it's in my calendar. My calendar synchronizes with the car system, and it knows. And in the calendar, I tell it where my doctor's appointment is, and then it goes ahead and pre-plugs in that route on the nav system too, just because it pulls it off the calendar.
So, Webb, is that? Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I put it there. It's not like it's figuring out. I said at 3:00, I got an appointment with Dr. Smith at Dr. Smith's office, and I, in the calendar program, I plug in where I put in Dr. Smith, and it goes ahead and pulls in the contact information out of contacts, so it knows where Dr. Smith's office is. So, yeah, I'm fine with it, but I'm viewing that as being more localized, as being some cloud-based third-party influence. I think it's just using logic.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where we go in the next couple of years.
And I'm still blocking it at my office. Nobody can use those large language models at my office. So
that also seems reasonable.
Some companies are doing it internal. They can't get anything outside.
Yeah, we're looking at that. We're looking at a Microsoft product that does it, and all the inquiries stay internalized. So
yeah, I know I've talked to some companies that they aren't telling me how, but they're telling me they're building their own LLMs for internal use. And I keep wanting to find out how and what they're using to train them, because that sounds like a great idea, and it certainly introduces a level of control. But I also wonder how much it hobbles the LLM, or does
it depends on the use case,
right?
In a lot of cases, they're being trained with your company's own data, so everything is just staying localized. And depending on what your use case is and the quality of your data, that's going to determine how effective that will be.
Yeah, Jeff, and maybe I'm not fully understanding how it all works, but it makes me wonder if that is going to be something that therefore starts spitting information or data or responses back to me that kind of mirror what I want to hear, as opposed to being a little more objective.
That's a totally valid question.
Yep. So, I don't know, but I listen. I appreciate everyone, all the MacVoices Live panelists who show up every week and discuss these things. I'm not sure we ever reach necessarily any conclusions on a lot of things, but it's very much a new time. It's a transition time, and not just transitioning from one thing to another, but transitioning into things that have never existed before. And I think that makes it both exciting and terrifying at the same time. So thank you all for all of your wisdom this show and throughout the year. I think we've had some amazing discussions, and hopefully we've gotten some people to think about some of these things in ways they haven't before. So for the last time in 2023, let's go around the horn and let folks know where they can find you, and we'll then say Happy New Year. We're going to keep the same order. So with that, David Ginsburg, thank you for being here. Where can we find you?
Thank you for having me. This was a great show. You can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. I'm on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. I'm on the Mac Show when we're not on hiatus on Fridays, as well as I'm on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud. And Happy New Year to everybody. Looking forward to 2024.
Thank you, David. Happy New Year. Eric Bolden, where can the LLMs find you?
If I don't know, they don't know. So, But everyone else can find me at EA Bolden, at techhub.social or mas.to. And I'm not that hard to find.
Great. Eric, thanks so much for being here. And I did notice that you lost the Finch and went to a little more holiday theme. That's good looking.
Gadsden State Capitol, and then the light show that has the state capitol in lights.
Very nice.
Almost
nice.
Vegas, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
Background.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to picture you in Vegas, and it's scary. Webb Bixby, thank you so much for being here, you and your quilt. Where can folks connect with you?
This week, I'm going to say Webb Bixby at X. Well, you can find me there. And it's not my quilt. My wife makes them. I just take pictures of them. So.
Okay. Well, still, it's. I think
this one is one of my favorites. It's absolutely beautiful. So.
Yeah, I think through marital community property, it's yours.
Yeah, we got that prenup going. So.
I so bad want to ask, and I'm not going to.
Yeah. What did Letterman say? There's no off position on the Genius Switch, you know.
Yeah. Jeff Gamet, should we ask you about a prenup, or should we just ask where the folks can find you?
Oh, you can ask.
Okay.
But instead, I'll tell you where you can find me. I was thinking, do you really do a prenup? Would it be a prenup if you're not married? Would that just be
no?
Yeah, so that would just be that would be a legally binding contract.
Yeah, it's nuptial, so it has to tie to the nuptial agreement.
Okay, so a legally binding contract between two individuals is what a prenup would be if there was no nup in the process.
Yeah,
got it.
That's a nup.
Oh, how about instead if I say I'm Jay Gamet on all the social medias, and I'm most active on Mastodon, Instagram, and Threads. And then for shows here, thank you so much, Chuck, for letting me join in on MacVoices Live. And then let's see, Thursdays, Dave lets me join in on In Touch with iOS, which is pretty awesome. Then on the British Tech Network, the Big Show on Thursdays, the Mac Show on Fridays. Those shows will be starting up again after the new year. And Brian Chaffin and I do the Context Machine.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much for everything this year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Chuck.
And folks, in case you missed it, we did get our facepalm out of Eric with Jeff's prenup comments. So thank you, Eric. Yeah. Ben Roethig, thank you so much for being here. Where can folks connect with you?
Well, Chuck, you can find me at Ben Roethig on your social media of choice. You can find my writings at roethig.tech. There's a brand new one out as of last Christmas Eve. Well, this Christmas Eve, like 2 days ago. As where you can find me on podcasts, just re-listen to what Jeff said and take away the context machine.
That's pretty efficient.
Yeah, I like it. Ben, Happy New Year. Thanks so much.
You as well, Chuck.
Last but absolutely not least, Mr. Jim Rea, our resident developer. At least he's not going to jail anytime soon that we know of, so we don't have to bail him out. Jim's thinking that one over. It's good to have you. Where can folks
Is this thing
find
still
you?
on?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. You can find me at provue.com, provue.com, and on Mastodon at provuejim at techhub.social. And continuing, you can find me for 25% off at artisanalsoftwarefestival.com. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices Live. We do this Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Next time, it'll be 2024, but we'll still be here doing it. So we hope to see you then at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. Meanwhile, I hope you and yours have a healthy and happy and safe, above all safe, New Year and New Year celebration. See you next time.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.